Welcome back. Drop a tip in that PayPal link below, because Vegeta's tough love is about to completely break Konoha.
Previously on the GalickVerse. Pushed to the absolute brink of death, the gentle Hyuga heiress finally snapped under Vegeta's brutal gravity training. She abandoned the elegant gentle fist, mutating her noble heritage into a terrifying, high-speed execution technique that left the ninja world speechless. But when Orochimaru tried to cowardly assassinate her from the shadows, the Prince of all Saiyans personally stepped onto the battlefield. He didn't intervene out of pity. He stepped in because a filthy, crawling insect dared to lay a hand on his ultimate masterpiece. Awakening the legendary Super Saiyan form, his raw atmospheric pressure alone was enough to completely vaporize the immortal Edo Tensei army. The great Orochimaru realized his fatal mistake entirely too late. Immortality is completely useless when you are facing molecular erasure. A perfectly focused, planetary-level execution. The Gallic gun fired, erasing the snake from the very fabric of the shinobi world. The prince and his newly forged queen of the battlefield stood victorious. But a blast of that magnitude doesn't just fade away silently. The shockwave rippled across continents. By dawn, every single hidden village knew that a terrifying new apex predator had claimed Konoha as his territory. The morning after the massacre. The Forest of Death has been permanently reshaped into a colossal, smoldering monument to Saiyan's superiority. The entire village is on absolute lockdown. The ANBU Black Ops are posted on the perimeter, completely paralyzed by the lingering, suffocating pressure. Inside the Hokage's office, panic is silently brewing. Tsunade realizes she is harboring a walking nuclear weapon that takes orders from absolutely no one.
I don't care if the daimyo himself visits. No one steps within 3 miles of that crater. Understood?
Meanwhile, the prince is completely unfazed by the geopolitical nightmare he just caused. He hovers silently, gathering his ki, completely ignoring the outside world. Standing guard at the base of his makeshift throne is his newly forged weapon. She doesn't need to heal in a hospital anymore. Her eyes are hollow, cold, and entirely focused. The heiress has fully embraced her role as the merciless gatekeeper to the Saiyan domain. But the silence is abruptly broken. Someone with a massive ego is foolish enough to ignore the Hokage's strict quarantine orders. Enter the Sand Village's most ruthless wind user. Temari arrived on a diplomatic intel mission, but her curiosity is pulling her straight into hell. Looking down at the mile-wide glass crater, she refuses to believe a single human being is capable of causing this level of apocalyptic destruction. Her eyes lock onto the anomaly. Even from this distance, the sheer atmospheric pressure radiating off the prince makes her skin crawl with anticipation. She isn't terrified like the Leaf Ninja. Born in the harsh desert, Temari worships pure strength. And right now, she's looking at a god. Driven by a reckless desire to understand this power, she abandons her diplomatic mission. She wants a front-row seat to the Saiyan spectacle. Plunging straight into the absolute zero-tolerance quarantine zone, the Sand Ninja blindly steps into the most dangerous arena on the entire planet. She expects to walk right up to the alien. She completely underestimates the deadly gatekeeper waiting patiently at the bottom of the pit.
Take one more step toward my master, and I will personally rip your heart out through your spine.
The Sand Village's most arrogant prodigy steps right into the kill zone, completely misjudging the silent girl guarding the alien fortress. Temari expects an easy win. In her mind, the Hyuga heiress is just a fragile, stuttering princess playing dress-up on a real battlefield.
I heard the Hyuga clan bred a pathetic failure. Move aside, little girl, before I blow you away like trash!
But the insult lands on deaf ears. The timid girl who used to cry at harsh words is dead and buried in this very dirt. What stares back at Temari isn't a ninja. It is a completely hollowed-out executioner, stripped of all empathy by a Saiyan's twisted teachings. A brief chill runs down her spine, but her arrogance completely blinds her to the massive red flags waving right in her face. Annoyed by the silent disrespect, she decides to skip the warm-up. It's time to show this leaf brat what true destructive power looks like. 3 moons exposed. Going straight for the overkill, she channels a massive amount of wind chakra, aiming to slice her opponent into ribbons. She has absolutely no idea that she is trying to blow down a mountain with a pocket fan. The wind scythe jutsu is unleashed. A hurricane force attack designed to completely shred the terrain and anyone unlucky enough to stand in its path. The sheer velocity of the jutsu rips the ground apart. It's a flawless execution from a masterclass shinobi. For any normal ninja, taking this attack head-on means instant, bloody death. Dodging is the only logical option. But she doesn't move. She doesn't even flinch. To a body subjected to Vegeta's insane gravity, this wind is nothing more than a gentle breeze. Standing dead center in the path of the storm, she finally decides to acknowledge the attack. The Byakugan activates. But there is zero grace in her eyes, only pure, unfiltered Saiyan hostility locking onto its prey. Fusing her Hyuga heritage with raw ki, she turns her bare hand into a weapon sharper than any forged steel on earth. She doesn't weave signs. She doesn't use a defensive rotation. She meets absolute force with overwhelmingly superior violence. With a single, effortless swipe of her wrist, she challenges the ultimate wind jutsu head-on. The impossible happens. The catastrophic storm is literally chopped in half by a bare hand, breaking every known law of ninja physics. The attack harmlessly obliterates the terrain behind her. She stands in the eye of the storm, completely unharmed and severely unimpressed. The Sand Ninja's reality just shattered. Her ultimate, prideful attack was casually swatted away like a mildly annoying mosquito. In a split second, her arrogance vanishes, instantly replaced by the cold, suffocating realization that she is about to die. Before Temari can even blink, the heiress breaks the sound barrier. Moving at a speed that completely defies human limits, she goes on the offensive. She throws up her fan in a desperate panic. But you can't block an executioner that you can't even see. She materializes directly inside Temari's guard like an absolute ghost, perfectly bypassing the massive iron shield. The flawless defense is swatted away like a toy. It's time for the brutal, three-piece Saiyan combo to commence. Strike 1. A ruthless, hyper-condensed palm thrust directly targets the bone structure, abandoning all elegant chakra point precision. Her ribs shatter instantly on impact. The sheer density of the ki-infused blow completely crushes her internal defenses. Strike 2. A devastating knee ruptures her diaphragm, entirely knocking the wind out of the arrogant sand shinobi. Strike 3. She is violently ragdolled into the dirt, completely helpless against a combat style forged in literal alien hell. In less than 3 seconds, the one-sided massacre is over. The proud warrior is pinned to the ground like a helpless insect.
Your pathetic wind means absolutely nothing! Stay down, or you die right here in the dirt!
Her pride is completely shattered. Realizing that traditional ninjutsu is nothing but a cheap parlor trick, the sand prodigy makes a desperate, unthinkable choice. The prince emerges from his sanctuary. He watches the elite ninja struggle in the dirt, entirely unimpressed by her pathetic display of weakness. Stripped of her arrogance, she abandons her diplomatic mission. She crawls through her own blood, completely captivated by the intoxicating allure of absolute power. The heiress simply watches. Having already survived this exact hell, she feels absolutely zero sympathy for the broken girl bleeding out in the dirt. Reaching the feet of the alien god, she prepares to surrender the one thing she values more than her own life, her immense pride. Fighting through excruciating physiological trauma, the proud warrior of the sand village drops to her knees, fully acknowledging her absolute inferiority. She has seen the ceiling of the shinobi world, and she knows it's nothing compared to the limitless galaxy this man represents. The kunoichi bows her head to the dirt. She is willing to sacrifice everything she is, just for a tiny fraction of his devastating power.
Forget my village! Forget my pride! Just teach me how to become an absolute monster like her!
The prince is deeply amused. He loves watching the so-called elites of this primitive world shatter under the overwhelming weight of Saiyan's superiority. But Vegeta doesn't run a charity for broken ninja. He has zero interest in playing the role of a noble, inspirational sensei.
I don't take pathetic disciples. But I suppose Hinata could use a new punching bag to warm up with.
There is no formal acceptance. The prince responds to her ultimate submission with a brutal, bone-rattling kick straight to her sternum. Tossed aside like a ragdoll, she is forcefully hurled straight into the darkest, most dangerous room on the entire planet. She hits the cold steel floor hard. This isn't a dojo, it is a literal torture chamber designed to break the human body. He steps inside, completely ignoring her agony. If she wants to play in the big leagues, she's going to have to survive the initiation. With a single twist of a dial, he cranks the artificial gravity to an absolutely lethal level, just barely below Hinata's current threshold. The machine roars to life. The air inside the dome instantly solidifies, becoming a crushing, suffocating blanket of pure kinetic terror. She is pinned to the floor instantly. The terrifying gravitational force threatens to snap her spine and liquefy her organs in mere seconds. This is the true Saiyan reality check. Every single breath feels like inhaling shattered glass under the weight of a falling mountain. Hours pass like agonizing lifetimes. The sun sets, but the hellish torture inside the metal dome doesn't stop for a single second. Pushed entirely beyond the limits of human endurance, her muscles are violently tearing themselves apart just trying to resist the crushing gravity. Her internal organs are slowly rupturing. If she simply gives up and passes out, the sheer pressure will instantly stop her heart. Refusing to die like a weakling, she channels every last drop of her sanity into a desperate, final act of pure defiance. She drags her signature weapon underneath her. Not to attack, but to use the incredibly dense iron as a literal structural pillar. The immense gravitational field tries to crush the fan, but the legendary Sand Village iron holds firm against the alien technology. Propping herself up on her weapon, she creates a desperate lifeline. It's agonizing, but it stops her lungs from completely collapsing. Her body is completely broken, but her spirit just ignited. She has fully accepted the absolute madness required to walk the Saiyan path. As midnight blankets the Leaf Village, the brutal initiation continues entirely uninterrupted in the cold darkness. The prince meditates in absolute silence. Whether the girl inside emerges as a monster tomorrow or dies as a failure tonight, he truly couldn't care less.
Bro, Vegeta is an absolute menace, kicking her straight into the blender. Is Temari gonna survive this or get completely crushed? Vote in the poll right now.
As midnight completely swallows the hidden Leaf Village, a new, terrifying threat quietly slips through the outer perimeter, drawn by the scent of unimaginable power. The zombie duo of the Akatsuki arrives. They aren't here for diplomacy, they are here to harvest the massive bounty on the alien's head. Hidan is practically vibrating with excitement. The sheer density of the lingering energy in the air promises a glorious, bloody sacrifice for his dark god. Kakuzu remains coldly analytical. To the immortal treasurer, this unprecedented power anomaly represents nothing more than an absolute goldmine waiting to be claimed. Moving like silent phantoms through the dead woods, the S-rank criminals rapidly close the distance to the crater, completely ignoring the Hokage's quarantine warnings. Reaching the edge of the blast zone, even these hardened killers have to pause. The absolute geographical devastation is completely beyond their wildest calculations. Looking down into the abyss, they spot their million-dollar bounty. He isn't hiding, he's sitting right out in the open like a king. The prince is deep in meditation. He knows exactly who just arrived at his doorstep, but he simply refuses to acknowledge their pathetic existence.
Yo, Spike Hair! You deaf or just stupid? Get down here so I can sacrifice your organs to Jashin!
Driven by psychotic impatience, the immortal cultist dives straight into the kill zone, completely unaware of the absolute nightmare he is about to trigger. Kakuzu follows silently, his ancient combat instincts on high alert. The complete lack of defensive traps around this alien structure feels incredibly unnatural. Even with two of the most dangerous men alive standing directly beneath him, Vegeta doesn't even bother to open his eyes. They are literally beneath his notice. The blatant disrespect completely shatters Hidan's patience. He demands fear and screaming, not this quiet, insulting indifference from a supposed target. Slowly, the prince opens a single eye. The look he gives them isn't a warrior assessing a threat, it's a man looking at cockroaches dirtying his floor.
I don't waste my time talking to dead men. Girls, step up and take out the trash.
Responding instantly to her master's voice, the Hyuga heiress steps out of the dark. She is fully prepared to execute the intruders without hesitation. She stares dead ahead. The innocence in her eyes has been completely surgically removed, replaced by the cold, calculated precision of a Saiyan-trained assassin. Hidan bursts into psychotic laughter. To the immortal serial killer, sending a little girl to fight the Akatsuki is the ultimate, hilarious insult. But the prince promised them 2 executioners. The heavy steel door of the gravity chamber suddenly groans, interrupting the cultists' obnoxious laughter. The gates of hell slowly slide open. Thick, suffocating red smoke bleeds out from the chamber, carrying the heavy scent of blood and burnt ozone. A battered, blood-soaked figure drags herself out of the extreme gravity field. She looks completely destroyed physically, but she is still walking. She survived the impossible. The crucible of Saiyan gravity didn't break her spirit, it violently burned away her weakness and forged a completely unhinged monster. Hefting her massive iron weapon, she ignores the excruciating pain. This is her final exam, and she is absolutely desperate to prove her worth to the prince. 2 girls against 2 immortal S-rank legends. To anyone else, it looks like a complete suicide mission. But under Vegeta's banner, it's just a warm-up routine. Kakuzu's ancient combat instincts suddenly scream at him to run. The heavy, dark energy radiating off these teenagers completely breaks every logical rule of chakra. But Hidan is completely blinded by his own bloodlust. Screaming a prayer to his dark god, he charges headfirst into the meat grinder. The newly forged disciples lock into their stances. The era of gentle ninja arts is officially over. The Saiyan style is about to be violently unleashed. The clash of titans begins. The absolute arrogance of the Akatsuki is about to be violently crushed by the prince's ruthless, blood-soaked masterpieces. Blinded by his psychotic bloodlust, the immortal cultist charges headfirst into the kill zone. Bro really thinks he's about to collect an easy sacrifice.
Just give me one drop of that sweet, delicious blood, you little brat! Jashin demands it!
The gentle fist is gone. What replaces it is a completely unhinged, high-velocity execution technique forged by Saiyan gravity. Moving way past the speed of sound, she literally vanishes into thin air. Hidan isn't even fighting a human anymore, he's fighting a ghost. His weapon hits absolutely nothing but dirt. In that split second, the immortal assassin realizes he is completely cooked. Bypassing his weapon flawlessly, she slides right into his absolute blind spot. It is time to systematically dismantle the immortal. Strike 1. She targets the structural foundation of his body. Immortality doesn't mean a single thing if your skeleton turns into powder. The sheer density of her ki instantly pulverizes his wrist joint. He physically cannot hold a weapon anymore. His weapon drops. But the heiress is just getting warmed up. She moves with zero hesitation, executing her brutal combo. Strike 2. Dropping her center of gravity flawlessly, she systematically removes his ability to walk, stand, or fight back. She literally unplugs his nervous system at the source. This isn't a fight, this is a highly calculated dismantling of a human body. The immortal crumbles to the earth. But the Queen of the Gentle Fist has one final lesson to teach this arrogant cultist. Strike 3. An absolute overkill blow that sends a massive shockwave straight through his torso, completely obliterating his spinal column. Tossed across the battlefield like garbage, the Akatsuki's most durable fighter is instantly reduced to a completely paralyzed mess. He can't move a single muscle, but his twisted mind still laughs. Immortality is a curse when your body is broken into a million pieces. Kakuzu is completely done playing games. Watching his partner get folded in 3 seconds flat triggers his ultimate combat mode. Shedding his human disguise, the treasurer unleashes his monstrous true form. He intends to burn this entire crater to ash. Lightning, fire, and wind. 3 elemental monstrosities activate at once, preparing a combined attack that could easily wipe out an entire army. The masks charge their ultimate combination jutsu. A terrifying blast of pure elemental fury aimed directly at the heart of Vegeta's camp. The beam fires. It's an unstoppable force of nature designed to incinerate everything down to the cellular level. But the sand prodigy refuses to be sidelined. Stepping directly into the path of destruction, she prepares to test her newly forged limits. Surviving the gravity chamber gave her a massive software update. She channels raw ki into her fan, turning it into a weapon of mass destruction. Throwing all her newfound power into a single, devastating swing, she meets the Akatsuki's ultimate attack absolutely head-on. The ki-infused wind scythe is born. A hypercondensed blade of pure atmospheric pressure that completely defies the laws of traditional ninjutsu. The 2 catastrophic forces collide in the center of the battlefield, creating a shockwave that threatens to blow the entire crater wide open. But this isn't a stalemate. The sheer, overwhelming density of the Saiyan ki completely overpowers the elemental chakra in seconds. The impossible happens again. Temari literally cuts the massive laser in half, using raw, brute force to shatter standard ninja logic. The Akatsuki's ultimate combination attack is completely erased from the battlefield like an absolute joke. But the attack isn't over. The massive blade of high-pressure ki continues rushing forward, aimed right at the treasurer's throat. For the first time in his unnaturally long life, the immortal feels the icy grip of absolute, unavoidable death approaching. The blade connects. It instantly shreds his black threads and completely obliterates 2 of his precious hearts in a single, devastating blow.
Looks like the big bad Akatsuki isn't so tough when you're fighting in the big leagues. Absolute trash.
Stripped of his elemental masks, the Akatsuki treasurer completely loses his mind. He sacrifices his human form, mutating into a colossal, desperate abomination of dark threads. Towering over the crater, the monster prepares to crush everything in its path. It is a terrifying display of forbidden, ancient ninja arts. The sand prodigy is completely tapped out. She survived the gravity and broke the ultimate defense, but this final monstrosity is completely out of her league.
Enough playing around with this trash, Hinata. Erase him completely, or don't bother coming back.
An order from the prince is absolute. The heiress steps up, preparing to unleash a catastrophic level of energy that this planet has never witnessed. She brutally forcefully feeds raw Saiyan ki directly into her Byakugan. It is a highly dangerous, insane mutation that threatens to permanently blind her. The gentle fist is perfectly weaponized. She compresses a massive, planetary-level shockwave directly between her palms, turning her own body into a living cannon. The ground literally shatters beneath her feet just from the sheer, overwhelming density of the charging attack. She has become an absolute force of nature. Finding the monster's hidden remaining hearts instantly through the chaos, she locks on with surgical, absolutely merciless precision. Sensing his imminent, inescapable death, the immortal monster launches a desperate, full-power barrage aimed directly at the terrifying girl. She unleashes the beast. A colossal, hypercondensed shockwave of pure blue destruction violently erupts from her hands, dominating the entire battlefield. It isn't a clash, it's a complete erasure. The sheer density of her ki instantly vaporizes the monster's strongest attack down to the atomic level. The shockwave completely swallows the immortal. There is absolutely no defense, no substitution jutsu, and no escaping the raw wrath of a Saiyan disciple. Her flawless Byakugan targeting guarantees a perfect kill. The shockwave systematically crushes his remaining hearts simultaneously, permanently ending his unnatural life. In just a matter of seconds, 2 legendary Akatsuki threats are completely liquidated. The Leaf Village has officially birthed an unstoppable apex predator. The leftover energy refuses to dissipate. It violently punches a massive hole straight through the atmosphere, acting like a brilliant, terrifying beacon. The prince simply smirks. He took the absolute weakest link of a broken clan and ruthlessly forged her into a god-tier weapon of mass destruction. Powering down, the heiress reclaims her silence. The battlefield is completely secured, and the arrogant Akatsuki have been permanently humbled. But the consequences of playing with Saiyan ki on a foreign planet are absolutely monumental. The energy blast doesn't just fade, it travels. The raw, mutated energy breaches the atmosphere. To the rest of the cosmos, this incredibly dense ki acts like a blinding, unavoidable flare. It travels across the void, crashing directly into the dead satellite orbiting the planet. A place that isn't actually as abandoned as humanity believes. Welcome to the Celestial Palace. The ancient, silent outpost of the ultimate cosmic parasites who planted the original God tree. For centuries, the true masters of chakra have slept in the dark, patiently waiting for their planetary farm to mature for the harvest. They considered Earth to be nothing more than a pathetic, predictable little garden. Until right now. The alien Saiyan ki strikes the moon. A totally unrecognizable, overwhelmingly dense energy signature violently pollutes their perfectly monitored chakra network. The anomaly is detected. Vegeta didn't just break the ninja world, his massive ego just triggered an absolutely catastrophic, cosmic-level war. The true gods of the ninja universe are awake. And they are coming to exterminate the Saiyan virus before it consumes their entire harvest.
Bro, my jaw is literally on the floor. Vegeta just woke up the Otsutsuki. Drop a tip in that PayPal, hit subscribe, and comment below who survives episode 3.